The movie kicks off at a quiet bus stop in Ukraine. There's this woman called Red Star, and she's heading to meet someone. Meanwhile, there's this guy named Martin Baxter hiding on a bus, and he's urgently talking to someone we don't know about Red Star coming soon. Things start feeling tense as Red Star gets into a car with two people and gives them secret bank info. But Martin starts feeling something's not right. All of a sudden, everything goes crazy. Red Star gets shot without mercy, and there's gunfire everywhere. Martin jumps into action, taking on the bad guys. He gets rid of one skilled sniper and chases down another who's running away with Red Star's important bag. The chase is intense, like in those thrilling action scenes, but in the end, Martin manages to get the bag back. But as he hurries to check on Red Star, there's another surprising twist. A mysterious guy shows up and grabs her, threatening to hurt her if he doesn't get the bag. Martin has a tough choice to make. He reluctantly throws the bag to the scary guy and quickly shoots him, saving Red Star but leaving us all on edge. Here's the thing. All this action is just a memory from a life-changing mission that took place 12 years ago, when Martin worked for MI6 in Ukraine. Now, we jump to the present, and Martin is sitting in a car in busy London, waiting anxiously for his daughter, Lisa. His life has changed, and he's into cage fighting to make money now. He gives Lisa some money and asks her to bet on his upcoming fight. During the match, Lisa watches, feeling both worried and nervous. She tries to cheer her dad on from the sidelines. The fight is intense, and Martin takes some really tough hits. He almost looks like he might pass out, but he keeps on fighting with a lot of determination. Sadly, he eventually gets hit really hard and loses the match. After the fight, a stranger comes up to Lisa and gives her the money she won from the bet. Martin feels betrayed when he sees this, realizing that she had bet against him. In a vulnerable moment, Lisa admits that she's been dealing with her own problems lately. Later that night, Martin is with a woman, and Lisa is quietly drawing in the background. Martin's mind starts drifting, and he thinks about a mysterious woman from his past. He starts feeling sick, and it makes him unsure about what's going to happen in the future. The next day, Martin decided to show Lisa how to use a gun. Lisa told her dad about her dream to stay in town, go to school, and pursue her dream of becoming a writer or an artist. Martin, knowing they moved around a lot, explained that it's not easy to stay in one place, but promised to teach her important skills so she could take care of herself. One evening, Martin got ready for his job as a nightclub bouncer and left Lisa at home. He could sometimes lose his temper dealing with rowdy clubgoers. While he was at work, he met a girl named Sasha and told her they needed to talk about something important. A little later, a group of guys with guns came into the club. Martin recognized them as Sasha's family and started chatting with them. Sasha, who was from Ukraine, explained that her dad had known Martin, and she had become a reporter like her father. She asked Martin for help getting some important documents. But things got really tense when the guys with guns pointed their weapons at them. Martin didn't waste a second. He protected Sasha, and they quickly left the club, with the gunmen right behind them. Martin used his smarts to outmaneuver and get away from their pursuers. However, Sasha hurried away without saying anything, leaving Martin to rush back home. Armed with a baseball bat, Martin checked on Lisa, who was in bed. In the kitchen, he found an old friend named Trevor and an MI6 agent waiting for him. Trevor emphasized how important the documents Sasha mentioned were and warned that tough Russian enemies would be chasing Martin. Lisa, now awake, joined them in the kitchen. Then Trevor hit them with a big shock. He hinted that those files might reveal surprising details about Martin's wife, Lisa's mom, who had died. Lisa had always thought her mom died in a car accident, but it turned out her mother's death was connected to the mission we saw at the start of the movie. Lisa was overwhelmed with emotions and ran to her room, crying. Trevor left, telling Martin to think about what they had talked about. Martin tried to comfort Lisa, but she was really angry about his secrets. Martin couldn't sleep, and by morning, he reluctantly agreed to work with Trevor. As he got ready, Lisa didn't want to move again, but Martin was sure it was their only choice. While Martin was loading up his car, he got hit from behind and passed out. When he woke up, he was in a room facing Tatiana, who had connections to the Russians and the KGB. She gave him a tough choice: hand over the files and Sasha within a day, or they'd hurt his kidnapped daughter. With these threats hanging over him, they took Martin back home. An MI6 agent tried to go with him, but Martin warned him off with a gun. Determined to figure things out, Martin went to a bar owned by Max, thinking Max might know where Sasha was because of their connections. When Max didn't cooperate, Martin resorted to using his gun to make him give up his phone. A guard tried to stop him, but Martin quickly took care of both Max and the guard before making a daring escape. He also handled any other guards he ran into along the way. Meanwhile, Lisa and Tatiana were at a hotel, watching a boxing match. Using Max's phone, Martin managed to find out where Sasha was staying at the same hotel. He offered to help her get the files back. Sasha talked about her father's diary, saying the files had info about a dangerous chemical weapon. These files were locked in a bank, and she needed the access code to get them. Martin went to an old building to find a hacker who secretly helped the CIA. He used his gun to make the hacker give him info about the Red Star mission from 12 years ago. The hacker showed pictures of Red Star holding a yellow sheet with the bank code. Just when Sasha told Martin that gunmen were coming in, Martin asked the hacker for a way to escape. But Trevor and his team showed up too. Trevor tried to talk to Martin, but Martin and the hacker had already left the room. A little later, Martin got jumped by two of Trevor's guys, and a big fight broke out. Trevor and more of his people were closing in, but Martin managed to escape by jumping out of a window while fighting one of the guys. He quickly joined Sasha in her car, and they drove away fast, with both the CIA and MI6 chasing them. They found shelter in an old building to hide from their pursuers. Inside the bank, Martin tried to use the code to open the vault, but he found out that someone had messed with it. When Trevor and his gang finally caught up with them, Martin acted like he was giving up. But there was a surprise twist when Sasha acted like she was taking Martin hostage. She pointed a gun at her own head and said she was the only one who could open the bank vault. She threatened to hurt herself if they didn't let them go. Faced with this really bad situation, Trevor told his team to stop, and Martin and Sasha made a daring escape. Later, Trevor found out from the hacker that Martin couldn't get the code. His guys tried to follow Martin, but lost track of him. As Martin and Sasha got ready for their next move, they planned to get on a plane. To throw the hacker off their trail, Martin took a woman's passport for Sasha. But Trevor was still determined and told the hacker to watch airport security cameras. In the middle of all this mess, Tatiana got in touch with Martin and hinted that they didn't have much time. Martin told her he was going to Ukraine with Sasha to get the files and asked Tatiana for more time. Pretty soon, Trevor figured out where they were going: Kiev. He told the hacker to let their people in Ukraine know and keep an eye on Martin. When Martin and Sasha got to Kiev, they had undercover agents following them. At the same time, Lisa was spending more time with Tatiana and slowly finding out the real story about her mom's death during a mission. The next day, Tatiana and Lisa got on a plane to Kiev. After they got to their hotel, Tatiana secretly let Martin know they were there. Martin and Sasha got into a car and realized they had someone following them. When they reached the bank, Sasha went in, acting like she needed to get into her own storage space. An employee went with her. Once inside, Sasha got in touch with Martin and told him where to find her. Trevor and his agents came into the bank, and Martin managed to take down a security guard and set off the emergency alarm. Trevor eventually got to the storage area and was caught off guard. Martin saw his chance and held Trevor at gunpoint, wanting to get the access code, thinking Trevor had the important info. After getting what was in the storage, Martin and Sasha took Trevor with them, quickly disabling him. They made a bold escape to the roof of the bank, and then got away in a car with the police chasing them. But in a quiet spot, Sasha surprised Martin by pointing her gun at him when she found out about his ties to the Russians. Martin begged her, saying he was only trying to save his daughter. But despite his pleas, Sasha shot him in the arm and drove away. As Martin was starting to lose consciousness, he got a call from Tatiana. He told her that he had both the files and Sasha with him. Tatiana told him to set up a meeting for later that evening. Martin called Trevor to help find Sasha and make sure his daughter was safe. After ending the call, he used the car rental company's records to figure out where Sasha was and rushed to a nearby train station. He saw Sasha there, and they had a tense chase, but Martin managed to overpower her and take her back home. Later that evening, Martin met with Tatiana for the planned exchange. Lisa was released and got a meaningful bracelet that had belonged to Tatiana's late daughter. Martin gave Tatiana the keys to find Sasha and the important files, but it turned out he had been tricked. Sasha, hiding behind a vehicle, took down one of Tatiana's guys. There was chaos, and when Martin tried to protect Sasha, Tatiana shot him. Tatiana aimed her gun at Sasha, but Lisa, using her father's gun, made a quick decision and shot Tatiana, killing her. Just a little while later, Trevor and his crew showed up to see what was going on. In a last-ditch effort to get away, Sasha grabbed the case with the files and jumped off a bridge into the water below. But then a gunshot rang out, leaving us wondering what happened to her. A few months later, we see Lisa visiting her dad, Martin, in jail. She lives with a new family now, but still comes to see her dad often. Lisa talks to Trevor and gives him some important files. She also tells him where the case is hidden. In return, she asks him to let her and her dad live in peace. To everyone's surprise, it turns out that Sasha didn't die like everyone thought. She actually did something really brave. She made the files public, and it caused big protests in Russia for free speech. Because of that, she got invited to go on TV to talk about why free speech is important. Martin and Lisa are having a hard time keeping their small restaurant going. One day, Sasha comes to see them, but it's clear that a Russian agent is still trying to find her, and that's how it ends. So the moral of the story is when life gives you secret documents, make sure they come with an instruction manual and a side of chaos.